Welcome back, everyone, to the Proving Grounds powered by Verizon. Again, I am Mazel, and I'm joined by Rebel Fox. And we are casting some games of League of Legends today. And it started off in this second series with a banger for the GGA side of things, as ZOOS Gaming get trounced in that game number 1.
They exceeded my expectations on the side of GJ. I thought they were going to go, all right, we're going to pick Ezreal. We're going to take this to like 35 minutes. We're going to go to like full dragons. We're going to have like Elder. That's going to be the game plan. And ZOOS is going to try to fight against that. But instead, the early game was really surprisingly adequate. Yeah. They had a number of different plays that they could make across the map. They were able to shut out all the tools of ZOOS. It's like they knew what the composition was of ZOOS better than ZOOS knew their own composition. So really, really great stuff from GGA to start things off.
Yeah, and it wasn't just one thing, right? It was the map movements. It was the total pressure. It was moving around those objectives, calling up, being able to get Chime, Prismal into these fights, into these moments, into these engagements. And it all started off with, like, around that first objective, RBM and company were trying to make a play for that first dragon. They get caught out by the bot side of GGA, and they lose those couple kills early on. And that just set the pace for what we saw from GGA for the rest of that game.
Set the tone for the entire series, to be quite honest. Just because there was nothing, or the entire game. My apologies that it came out. We didn't see anything else.
It might be the series. You never know.
It might be. Yeah, it just might be. As I'm excited to get into some of this. As these plays that came out were immaculate. Again, when you see like Chime's engages were great, but the circumstances surrounding this whole fight were so good when it came down to like Rose Thorn being able to find the right sleep in a Malphite. They shut out Malphite in the side lane, took 26 minutes for the transformation. Like I said, I feel like this is one of those games where it's like if it's a scrim between ZOOS and GGA, 15 minutes in, ZOOS is just like throwing in the red, they're throwing in the white flags up. They're just like, all right, we're done. Like we're FFing this and we're not playing this anymore. As this was a really tough one to try to come back from. It really
look at that catch up, the damage, my goodness, and the follow-up. And I love it because it came out, this particular one came out the back of like them finally saying, we got the transformation, we're finally here, we can fight. And then no, it was just GGA saying no way, Jose. And that Gale Force at the end there for Prismal just to call to guard the rest of GGA and kind of slam home this first game. It was just great performances across the board. You look at those those KDAs for GGA, everybody had a say in this one.
Can you recall also the fact that like this was a 9th place academy team? They didn't have the greatest academy split, and it started from minute 1 when they left academy because they went into Giant Slayer, the second tier 2 or tier 1 qualification. My apologies. They won that over top of EGA, another one of those teams that ended up getting a little bit lower inside of that tournament. And then you continue that train of thought, and it's like, okay, they come into Northern Arena and they had a fantastic performance at Northern Arena. Now all of a sudden, this team's looking completely revitalized. This team looks like a brand new team. They beat TLA last week, are like one of our top 2 or 3 teams coming into the tournament, and they beat them to come in a 2-0. This team is looking completely revitalized from what we thought they were going to come in looking like. So I can't give anything but props to GGA and the development they've had for a lot of these young players.
It's that late Proving Grounds buff coming in clutch, the scaling factor for GGA, especially in this one. But that's I think what makes me so disheartened by this first loss by ZOOS. I think that ZOOS are a great team in all. They have some great pieces. They have great showings, at least across those pieces. And to see them kind of come out in this one game and kind of sputter a little bit in the way that they wanted to play, like I need to see that full-fledged transformation, as you're kind of saying, but for the side of ZOOS game.
Agreed. Like I said, I think that was not indicative of what we've seen from ZOOS in the past.
Not at all.
I think going to more standard, going to more, like I said, Hecarim, Udyr, really good for RBM, better lanes. I liked the Orianna. I thought Darklings was perfectly fine on that. And then going into other things, I was fine with the Jinx. It was okay. They just have to have an attack plan. They were never able to combine their pieces together. Again, when the game plan is around Alarm and Alarm's helping out a lot of these younger players, getting him into fights as often as possible is really good because he knows how to team fight. He knows how to call fights really well when he's inside of them, and especially when he's playing these engaged type champions, when he's playing things like Malphite, like Sion, he's going to be the primary initiator. You got to have this team put together in order to actually make that happen. So you could draft a little bit more kind of individual style play coming out from the side of ZOOS, or you could double down into this team fight and just look to take it to the side of Golden Guardians again and just hope that you can make sure to get all your pieces together in time.
That's what I was gonna say, right? It's like again, just like the same thing we said in Series 1 with 100 Thieves Academy. Like the ideas are there, the execution not so much, but you still saw in the midst of that game, in the midst of them getting kind of lost in the in the game 1 of the series, at least, like they still had the calls. You still had Alarm making the TP calls, trying to find the flanks, trying to find the engages. And yes, it didn't matter so much in that, but if you keep that and you find a second game where you're a little bit higher up, you're not getting put down so far behind early, like those calls still matter so much. And those wombo combos that you're drafting for yourself, those kinds of stylistic compositions are going to be huge for ZOOS Game.
It would be nice to come into this game without necessarily the wombo combo, but instead more so something along the lines of something that helps for RBM to make impact across the thing. Because Kayn, you want to fight a bunch, but there's nothing that forces interaction with the like of Kayn, right? There's nothing that actually lets that come through unless you have a team fight or something like that, and that was what GGA was able to deny. So when the Kayn pick is off the table and they go to something else, this probably looks a lot better for themselves. Is that something? I like the fact that they were testing for it, whether or not it could work, especially into the Lilia, where we know it's been able to work in the past, but not going to actually work out for them. Go back to something that you're really, really comfortable with, and I'm sure ZOOS will be able to at least compete for this game number 3.
I think that's the most important part, is finding something for RBM to ping pong between those lanes, to try to find something for RBM to feel comfortable. And yes, you could say the Kayn is some comfort. You got some strength in that pick, but I want to see something that really gets the gears turning for RBM, because I think he's been such a strong performer in getting ZOOS Gaming to where they want to be on the map, and especially those early game advantages we've kind of talked about. I still think that the objective control is going to be huge in this one as well, and going into the second game. But this is, again, reiterating on it, because this is all we got today, is elimination matches. Like, if ZOOS Gaming do not perform here, their Proving Grounds stint is done. And that would be such a sad moment here with a team that has grinded, has fought, has slogged through what is the Proving Grounds circuit, everything to get to this point. They've got to show a better showing than that.
Agreed. I think it would be disappointing for either team to drop out right here, just because of the expectations that they've got. Although, to be quite honest, again, when you think about the seeding, these are two teams that probably should drop out about this time. So, like, to think that one of them, like, it would be disappointing, it will be, because we've seen them play. And, like, ZOOS being able to take off, TSM Academy and having a competition up against C9, that's a really important set of games for an amateur team. And then GGA, like, their development over the course of the past few months has been enormous. And you've seen that start to culminate right here in this series. You've seen it begin to culminate. So, like, it's disappointing because these two teams' growth have gotten them into a position where I feel like they deserve to do better than what they are right now. But one of them has to go home, and ZOOS has got to turn it around. Almost beating C9 means nothing if you get put out in this round and end up being between the 12th and the 9th place team.
Kind of wishing there was a lower bracket at this point to see these teams keep
triple
going.
Elimination.
But in all actuality, like, it is a lot of pressure to be put on ZOOS right now. One down in the series in a best of 3 that you usually feel like these moments are fit for a best of 5. You're going the distance. You've got some games to give. You've got some drafts to give. When you come out with a draft like that, you're trying to get something started for yourself. You're trying to get some of those juicy draft bucks early on, and it doesn't work out. You've got to completely change that game plan going into the second draft. And going into that one here in just a little bit, we do have, I want to note that ZOOS is going to be staying on that blue side. So now, Rebel, that means that we have some interesting things that can kind of come down, especially in the fact that GGA are still going to be sticking with a counter pick as well.
That they will. I feel like maybe the counter pick isn't as punishing from the side of GGA. Like, if ZOOS is on blue side, or on red side, my apologies, you can think about like Wukong comes in for Alarm. A lot of people know him as a Wukong player. True. You talk about like Kha'Zix, which we saw earlier in the tournament for the likes of ZOOS' jungler and RBM. Champions like that, you don't get to take on blue side as easily. You have to manufacture that kind of pick.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to be so, like, honestly, I like the Orianna, the Malphite for ZOOS. Like, I feel like those are the two strongest pieces, and we talked a lot about these two players individually. I think the only thing that really stood out to me is, like, getting lost in that early game for ZOOS and going down really, I feel like, was troubling for Darkwings, right? A lot of the transitions, he was getting caught by the side of Chime and Prismal, and not being able to have those smooth transitions to get to the fights, to get to the team fights, is the biggest thing for me. And, like, yes, I think the picks are still strong. You just got to make sure that early game pans out for you a little bit better, and you're keeping your head on a swivel at least, and making sure those transitions can work out to get to those fights, to get everybody there. And as we're going to be getting into this game 2 draft, Rebel, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what the counter picks come out from GGA, if there are any. But first and foremost, what ZOOS Gaming are looking to accomplish.
Yeah, I do like that they're doing their homework and making sure that Yunbi, who is a transcendent Twisted Fate player back in the scatting ground stint, is not getting that one. Only because, like, if you allow him to have that champion, then all of a sudden your side lanes get attacked, and like that's something that it's tough to deal with for a composition, especially into a team like GGA who scales so well. If Twisted Fate accelerates that scaling, it's tough. So they're not going to let that come through, as well as the double ADC ban to bottom lane. Rel is available, Thresh is available as well, as both Udyr and Hecarim are taken off the board. You have to think they're going to go elsewhere with this first pick other than jungle.
Yeah, I would expect the Thresh ban here by GGA. You never know, though. It could just let it sleep through. It is going to be banned. So Shadow Isle composition down and dusted, at least. GGA do not want to deal with that one. I do find the Jinx ban interesting for ZOOS. They do first pick the Lilia this time for RBM, another champion that RBM has had some success on in the past.
Yeah, willing to take that one away from Rosethorn. This is one of Rosethorn's more like kind of popular champions that he's played the majority of the split, and now it's going to be up to him to choose what he wants to play. Is it the Kayn? Is it the Nidalee? Both of which are options.
Does he pick the Kayn? Just the ultimate smackdown here. That would be so BM. But it is the Rel and the Orianna combo that come through for GGA. They're getting themselves some wombo.
Yeah, and after Chime's performance in that last game, and especially after Darkwing's performance early on, I'm not shocked to see that one come through. It's a good ball delivery system. You have to set up a little bit more unless you have another ball delivery. I prefer to see these two combine with a third member of this combination as a wombo rather than just the two. It can work as just the two, as it's a little bit fickle. Typically, it's when you have advantage in fights, as on the other side, the Gragas is locked in. This is something that Rhino has played. It's a good response to what Rel can do, and it's also a really good response to a team fight that ends up getting split. If you have engage and then backline, and you throw a barrel in between, all of a sudden, you no longer have backline, you just have frontline.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of flexibility in that aspect of it as well. I mean, you do have some potentials for that, but I would really like to see Rhino pick that one up, be able to pilot that one in the second game when it matters most for ZOOS Gaming. They also lock in the Kai'Sa for Rahin. Has been a huge pick in the past as well, in just the general meta at least, but something new at least for Rahin coming in the Proving Grounds, at least in this stint.
Yeah, able to snag this one away. It's one of his better champions. I think it is also comfort. Is over the course of Proving Grounds, played it a ton of times, as it looks like they finally come to the conclusion that they're going to draft for their jungle, and Yunbi, or my apologies, Rosethorn is going to go for the Olaf. It's of the champions that like exist as melee champions who just want to run at you. I feel like Olaf's the best into the likes of Lilia. It hasn't gotten picked pretty much at all here at Proving Grounds. It's fallen a little bit out of favor here on 11-6 for all these academy and amateur teams, but here we are where Rosethorn is one of the first that's taking it.
Yeah, I like the Olaf coming through. I think it just provides that much more pressure in the early game. You can just hard farm. You can get some skirmish. You can get that early objective control that we all know and love. The second phase of bans is turning out a little bit different, though, Rebel, as we have the Nocturne banned away by GGA. The Xayah from last game for Prismal, not going to be there this time around.
Not at all. Do you notice, I think they go to a second ADC ban. I'm curious, they can let Ezreal through, let Prismal take that, because Ezreal is good for Prismal, but it does slow down their game plan. Or they ban Ezreal knowing that he's comfortable on it and try to force them onto something new in terms of the ADC role, whether it be like Sivir or Varus, and right there's the Sivir that's getting taken away. So now you come back, there's a couple of solo lane bans, or at least flex picks that are going to be taken off the side of ZOOS Gaming, but I think really pinching the pool of Prismal is going to be harmful for the side of GGA Academy.
I think so too, and I think having that strong performance on Xayah in the first game can lead that a little bit less more into like a really telling situation. But the Varus comes through. We got to see it already once today. Pretty shining performance in that aspect in most cases, but here Prismal picking it up.
Okay, this would be crazy. Okay, so first off, there's no protection for Varus within this composition.
No, not at all.
And so that's really tough if you're able to get some sort of wombo combo, especially with like Gragas and Lilia to actually come out. Okay, I'm just going to say something to you right now, Mr. Mazel. First off,
what is it?
Big Kiana fan. Big Kiana fan. I told you something before our broadcast started, that they said they had something crazy. I wrote down on a piece of paper what champion I thought they were going to play. I think it's backwards.
No, it's good.
Before the cast started, I had
it
it written down, guessing what champion it was going to be. Darkwings gets his priority mid lane. They pair it with Gragas. It is an excellent team fighter. This is the flawless pick that's going to come through from the side of ZOOS Gaming.
I love it. Got to come out swinging in game number 2 after going down in that first game. They get themselves that combo. They get themselves some wombo as well. And the response, the final tick is going to be that Gnar for GGA.
They are able to get Tally back onto his Gnar right here, as there's some flexibility that came through. Sion gets blinded by the side of Aloran, but now all of a sudden, as I have pointed out, Darkwings getting broken out of mid lane was huge when they had it on Orianna. If you think it was good on Orianna, it is infinitely better on this champion right here, who I still consider overloaded, and there is not a lot in the way of peel from Golden Guardians Academy. Their team is pretty much entirely teamfight based, and they're going to be working as a little bit more of a death ball. So this ultimate, this massive display of skill that's going to come through from the likes of the Qiyana could be huge for aggressing against this team.
Yeah, I think that the fight, at least if Darkwings can get ahead, like those getting caught out in transitions is not going to matter. Right? You're Qiyana. You want to catch people in those transitions. You want to fight those fights in the jungle, and especially setting yourself up around those big moments. And the Qiyana does so exceptionally well. Darkwing's getting to pilot this one. That's where the spotlight is, right? We talked a little bit about RBM's performance in the first game. Needed to see a step up from that situation. But if you pick this Qiyana, like that is where the spotlight is. You've got Rahid on the Kai'Sa that can follow up the performance, the shining spotlight, if you will. But it is going to be up to Darkwings to really pull out everything that he can in this one to make sure that ZOOS Gaming do not get knocked out. Because on the other side, we talked a little bit about it when we were seeing some of these picks go through, but they have a very standardized composition. Yes, Varus is a little bit lower mobility, at least can't really have that peel back for it. But as a whole, when you get into those teamfight compositions, there's a lot to deal with going against GGA. So as we are going to get into this game number 2, ZOOS Gaming backs up against the wall. They pull out the Darkwings Qiyana. This is the moment to shine going up against GGA.
This is what I've been waiting for right here. I love this kind of innovation that's going to be coming out from the side of ZOOS Gaming, where they're able to pull something in their back pocket, especially for a player that's talented as Darkwings. We made mention he was that 1v1 winner, and I feel like he's been waiting in a hyperbolic time chamber on like Orianna and Syndra and Azir for months, only to pull out this assassin to be able to work things with. And like we said, no peel for Prismal. It's a lot more of a kind of a together composition, more standard teamfight style. Could be really good. More importantly, though, you have CC in every single lane to set up both Qiyana roams, but also Lilia for RBM, which is humongous for trying to get ganks off, especially into some of these lanes. It's another game where like Olaf gets a bit tankier, but it's still relatively squishy because there's no one to sit there and just soak damage for the side of GGA. And I can tell you right now, there's damage in spades for the side of ZOOS Gaming.
They definitely do have that going for them. Again, I do still think that like we can set up these compositions all you want. We can talk about the power potentials for either one of them. It's all about that early pathing. It's all about that early skirmishing. Who is going to get the first couple bloods? Who is going to get that gold dumped in their pockets early? And how do they use that in the fights? As we already see the 1v1 on the bot side, Chime taken very, very low, but so is Rhino. Get a couple trades of summoner spells from the supports, but nothing else going to be burned.
Huge advantage, though, to the side of Rhino, because Gragas has Sustain, and you don't really have a ton of that outside of the Q that comes through from Chime. Also burns the Summoner spells on both sides, where Ignites are now down, which is, I think, favorable more so for the aggressive or for the defensive lane, because, like, ideally, Gragas and the Kai'Sa probably aren't going to be looking for a ton of kill potential unless you find a great ultimate onto Prismal, and you don't necessarily need Ignite. If you hit him with an ultimate that's good enough to set up the remainder of the play, you're probably going to kill him anyway. So in that sense, if Chime wants to get aggressive and you want to drop Ignite into a play that Rosethorn joins, now that option is no longer available.
I think that's something we'll have to kind of keep our eyes out on, especially. But I do really like so far, you know, we've hyped up Darkwings' Qiyana, but you even had it written on a piece of paper there, Rebel. Yep. But I love that Yunbi is taking aggression in the lane, trying to keep that priority there for himself, try to keep that wave crashing onto Darkwings.
That's the case. Making sure that you can't move that quickly. This is perhaps the one weak point of the champion, is this early laning phase. In order for Qiyana before Tiamat to be able to get out of lane, which isn't even necessarily part of the build path anymore, you have to fight, basically, which is very volatile, especially into a ranged laning matchup. And so Darkwings has to be pretty careful. Without RBM to help, you have to at least look for some trading value into Yunbi, or you have to play off of Yunbi, playing a little bit more passively to get priority over top of these waves in that regard.
And it's been a huge theme today of junglers starting on the same sides, getting that tussling going. This, I feel like, is one of the times we won't see that. Is RBM going to be starting on the opposite side from Rosethorn? They're just going to get the respective scuttle crabs to each other and then look to get active on the map.
That we will. Full clears from both sides. I want to see who ends up backing first. It is going to be the back. Okay, it's slightly faster, but it's not going to be anything meaningful as both these junglers are going to end up. Olaf also stalled his for one additional auto attack or something like that. So these two not going to fall anytime soon. Also going to clear. Okay, Olaf has now stopped the back like 3 times. I think he's
I was going to say.
Yeah, they're waiting for the dive. Is what's
got
happen right
Good look for it onto Olorum. Trying to get the captain down here, but can Olorum outplay it? Has not been touched just yet.
Nope.
Not going to be taking any damage, and it actually looks like GGA are going to get out of there after all is said and done.
Health was a bit too low, and I think they saw that. The attack speed is necessary for Rosethorn, but Tally having, not really the health bar, especially on Meganar, let alone Mininar, to tank to start with, more than maybe 2 shots at absolute best, means if any CC on a non-Ragnarok Olaf hits, then you are completely stalled out underneath of that tower with nothing to do. So all that this did was let RBM get deployed onto the map much faster, start clearing these camps, and gives him the tempo advantage to start moving towards this bottom lane, where maybe the plays can start to come out.
And seeing still a lot of aggression down on the bot side. They're trying to find Prismal. There's a lot of damage onto Rhino, too. The heal does come out from Raheen, as now they're caught. Raheen goes for the kill, doesn't have the damage, and now Raheen is caught here as the TP is coming down from Yunbi, but it's not going to matter. First blood to Rosethorn.
Yeah, the attempted play right there, a little over-aggression from the bottom lane here from ZOOS is going to end up being that case. Rosethorn gets down here after the back of the attempted play. They thought that they had another second, or that the pathing was maybe just not there, or had walked into the jungle for some more, but instead Rosethorn walks immediately to this lane, is able to find that kill, and now, it's a kill for your Olaf. There is a bit of response. RBM came down here to try to catch Prismal, or at least deny the back. As you see right here, yeah, look, Olaf is just going right through the laning, not even coming out of the jungle, so these two look for a bit of pressure. The Q is enough of a slow, and the passive stacks the exhaust. One auto of exhaust might have been enough right there, too. Yeah, look at that low health. That exhaust auto might have been enough denied damage to actually save Prismal's life. So clutch right there, coming out to make sure that that's not going to be the case. Is GGA's bot lane not going to trade the 1-for-1. Instead, just going to trade that kill over as Rosethorn picks that one up.
And you gotta feel for Raheen. That was first blood. That was the attempt that they wanted. He was putting his body on the line for it and doesn't get it. And the mechanical prowess of GGA is coming out full force.
That is making sure not to give too much up here in this early game, and not giving a kill over to Raheen, who's a very good player. If you trade 1-for-1 there, I think Raheen's able to take quite a bit off the map, as there was a wave there also that was able to be picked up by Prismal, and so it would have been in a really bad position, since this is also going to be the lethality variant of the Varus to put pressure onto. But doesn't matter all too heavily quite yet. It's just the 1 kill going over to Olaf, who Rosethorn could try to use this to advance the remainder of the map, but got to find the right target for it. Level 6 now. You know what that means, Mr. Mizzou. You know what that means to the Kiana. The ultimate that's way too long for you to shout out in team fights.
Hey, I'm going to find a way. The supreme display of talent is going to be a great thing for GGA, as Lauren's going to be in some trouble here. Might have to re-engage from RBM. The Lilting Lullaby comes in, gets one of the sleeps, but the Unstoppable is going to get Alorum. They do get the trade back. Rosethorn falls. RBM wants Tally here. Tally flashes, as that's just going to be a trade back. At least ZOOS are able to get a kill.
I was hoping there'd be a little bit more just like pull or like a trigger pulled right there in aggression from Darkwings, as it felt like the flash had been burnt by Tally. And if you flash and you E and you're able to get in range, that supreme display of talent 100% kills the Gnar right there, confirms another kill for your team. Instead, just content with the one-on-one, so not going to be anything. This is just an ult into the wall. Alorm is just trying to soak the damage. Nice flash on the first Q means that Rosethorn can't get that initial slow, but afterwards it's just too much CC. And right here, like, you can't use the ultimate onto anyone good. I know he was probably considering right there using it. They thought they needed him for the remainder of the Gnar's health, or apologies, the Olaf's health bar. And right there, maybe an angle to try to throw that ultimate, but just out of range potentially, as Darkwings doesn't want to commit that one quite yet.
Yeah, it was so close to getting another kill on the Tally up there for ZOOS. They wanted to try and get something else going for themselves early on, but unable to find it. Just get that one kill, but can set themselves up with a Rift Herald here, as RBM has already started it. Could mean that First Dragon is going to go to GGA, though.
That it might, which is crazy to think 8 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. We
right?
Our first dragon off.
No, he's not even going for it. Doesn't even care.
Yeah. Nope, does not. As Rift Herald's getting taken by RBM, a little low on this one, so if he gets found out, could be in some trouble. But Dark Wings does have the push right here to be able to avoid.
Rosethorn knows it.
Rosethorn. Okay, they see the hatchet though. It looks like they're.
Oh, the shockwave on Dark Wings shut down the man. He can't become a legend. Rosethorn gets the kill onto Dark Wings. They're gonna follow this up. RBM at least is able to get that Rift Herald. Alorm might get caught here, though. They have a ton of follow-up. They have a ton of slows, and Alorm uses the blast cone over the wall. Are they just going to go for the dive here? They have a ton of damage to follow it up, and Tally's getting close to Mega. Looks like they will temper that aggression, though. They will back off, and Golden Guardians Academy come away with another kill. Do lose that Rift Herald.
I think it was the health bar, really, of the side of RBM that made this really big struggle. Because if Rosethorn walks into top river and finds RBM that low, either RBM has to just immediately burn flash to get over the wall and hope that Rosethorn can't follow at all.
Oh, no.
No.
The catch out, Raheen. He's going to get taken down. No, he's not. He survives. Oh, but there's the flash. No. Prismal with the piercing arrow pierces Raheen's heart.
Oh my goodness, that was a sniper move right there from the side of Prismal to be able to find that arrow even after the flash. You don't flash in a straight line, but it looked like Raheen even flashed a little bit down, and still the arrow was able to tag right there. What an impressive display, as it was Rhino stepping away for half a second. That ultimate is going to be there, and then you see this. I thought was huge for Rhino. I thought it was going to end up being a trade of kill. Watch this Q. Exhaust slows him down. Flash. Into Fog of War in a straight line.
Rip.
Oh, Raheen.
Raheen wants that one back, man. I feel like 100%. The story of the day here for ZOOS Gaming. They just want it all back. Different decisions, different points in the moments that mean so much. And with Prismo gaining that kill, helping his team get ahead down towards the bot side, it's spelling a little bit of trouble for ZOOS Gaming.
It is. It is lethality verse alongside Orianna, so the scaling I don't think is as humongous, especially into tankier members.
Oh my god, they just want to do it.
Massive sleep!
Darkwing's flashes for the supreme display of talent is going to die here, as Yunbi is going to trade back, but he still gets the kill, and Darkwing's overcommits.
And he does trade 1-for-1, which I think it's not perfect, but it at least is something. I was really worried you weren't even going to be able to trade 1-for-1 right there. Possibly could have walked out from tower instead of staying there looking for an additional Q or an auto attack here or there. I wasn't sure if he was confused about the damage output. Now Tally, no flash. He's in a very tough position. No Meganar coming anytime soon either.
Yeah, there's nothing to save Tally, as Alorm is going to be able to get that kill on the top side for ZOOS Gaming.
They will. A couple of kills coming back in favor of ZOOS. Also, defense of the red buff, making sure that Rosethorn just gets to walk that away. It looks like it was just taken by Rosethorn. And as you said, that Rift Herald on top side could be used to just crack a couple of towers here. It is a race. I think bottom side, the tower is also going to be here. I'm curious what that looks like in terms of health, because this should be the first tower taken down.
Yeah, you want to try and get some of that gold back. You want to try to find some of those advantages as the Rift Herald charge is going to do it. A couple more slabs from Alorm, and that will be first tower going over to ZOOS Gaming.
As impressive as the gold elite is, and as cool as it is that Rift Herald just did that, that was the shortest dash I think I've ever seen for Rift Herald. It's like
well, now you get a long one, all right? Now you get a second long one. All right?
That's much better, yes. And bottom lane, I don't think a tower was taken in exchange. It was a couple of plates that were coming over to the side of Prismal. So you have the Duskblade now completed after the back, as Raheen and Rhino had to soak at least a little bit of pressure right there. There's only 2 plates. Wow, that's kind of low for what I would have expected. They were able to get the entire top lane tower, and they were able to get a crash onto the top inner tower. So maybe this is where Alorm can start to move out on the map if they got a massively long lane here that the Gnar is going to have to deal with.
I think that's the most important part for me, is getting Alorm enabled to make those team calls, to make those trigger pulls, at least for ZOOS Gaming, which has been so integral to how they win games. And now you've got to be really careful about what GGA want to do, right? They've got Chime roaming. They've got a lot of pressure in the bot lane, which enables Chime to be effective around the map. And Yunbi has been being nothing but wonderful in this mid lane, having a CS differential, having a lot of priority in the lane, and especially at least integration in the rest of the team composition.
RBM has been focusing, I think, more on both A, farming, but also, more importantly, I think, putting just effort into some of the neutral objectives and into the side lanes. And so hasn't been putting a bunch of effort into making sure that the Qiyana has everything that she needs, especially in burning resources. The flash down from Yunbi means there is kill potential here from the side of Darkwings, but this is needed very, very early into the game to make sure that the Qiyana can roam. Lethality should be done relatively soon, though, as it should be the Prowler's Claw that comes out for the likes of this Qiyana to be able to get into fights relatively quickly. Could also get a Duskblade for that invisibility, but until that item's done, Orianna's got more than enough pressure, especially when she finishes that Ludens, to be able to trade against and to be able to outpush what the Qiyana can bring, making it even harder for Darkwings to try to get into some of these side lanes and use this big team fighting ultimate.
Yeah, I think you always, when you draft something like this, you want to see like 3 or 4 kills going over early with Qiyana, because then you just roll the game. But at this point, you've got to be really tapered on how you take those aggressions and where you want to use that supreme display of talent. You've seen they are fine trying to go for the pickouts, trying to commit everything to get a kill here or there. But as it gets further on, as these composition starts to kind of scale up for GGA, you got to be really careful.
That you do. Bottom side, it looked like there was a bit of hover from Rosethorn. I'm looking where everybody else is going. Qiyana's actually pathing towards bottom side right here.
Body slam, not going to hit the swirl seed, but there's Killer Instinct. Now you got TPs coming in, as it's going to be Yunbi joined by Warm. That's a big shockwave, though. Chime gets the re-engagement, and Prismal is taking sniper shot from the back line. That was a double kill for the ADC of GGA. Supreme display of talent is not going to supremely do anything here, as GGA are under tower, are taking it to ZOOS Gaming.
Is a flawless TP into an ultimate that comes out from Yunbi that secures this fight, which is going to open up not only bot lane tower to get taken by Tally, also would have opened up Dragon if that were available. So instead, it's just going to be a bunch of gold heading into the side of GGA, as the team fight just is not there yet again. Once again, this is GGA who's able to pull the trigger a lot faster. They find Prismal. The flash is going to get him out of this situation, thankfully, but they find a nice little body slam and ultimate from the Gragas to be able to actually get this one, put him into Raheen. But again, this flash is going to end up saving his life, and now the re-engage Yunbi is the huge one here. This ultimate is so big.
And then the arrow, across.
And the arrow, yeah. Everything together from the side of GGA is enough. And then here comes Rosethorn, who's so strong. Darkwings tries to get something. He's able to get one traded with this ultimate that goes over to the side of Raheen. But now they're under tower. There's too much range on the side of GGA, and there's more than enough members here for them to actually complete this task. So just a full team ace from the side of GGA, who now claim complete control of this game. It is only one objective in. It's a 3,000 gold lead, but that 3,000 gold lead is big for wanting to contest against some of these neutral objectives, and it makes it so much easier for GGA to do so.
And, like, you've got a 4-0 lethality Varus here. And it won't matter that much if Chime gets taken out here, but there's the Chains of Corruption to follow it up, as Prismal could find another one. Flash from RBM is going to get him away, but they at least are able to take down Chime, and ZOOS Gaming have found something back in this game.
You think about the amount of damage that's had in a couple of different members. Again, the late game scaling for damage here from GGA is lower without this on-hit Varus and instead with the lethality Varus. But what you do get is a ton of early damage, as you saw that arrow did so much. With the lethality, he's able to hit 3 targets probably for the majority of their health bar, if not 4, depending on what Rhino decides to build here. So that's 4 targets that if you hit with an arrow will be chunked for half of their health bar, or you can execute from half their health bar. Right there from Raheen, that's a quarter of his health bar gone with 1 item completed, as Yunbi also can't find RBM with that shockwave.
And Rosethorn was ready to go. He wanted to come into that fight if they caught out RBM, but RBM too quick, gets away from the shockwave, and Yunbi gonna have to wait another day for that engage there. But we do have a dragon up on the rift, and all of ZOOS Gaming are here to claim this objective. As the blue trinket comes out from GGA, they are moving into this fight, but the dragon's already almost down, and if they want to take this fight, you have Tally on the Meganar coming down. Might need to be careful here, as the dragon's smited away by Rosethorn. Supreme display of talent, and Raheen gets a kill on the backside of the fight onto Prismal, but you still have the 1v1 turning into the 2v1. Tally is going to take down Rhino. Raheen falls to the rest of GGA, and Rosethorn gets that kill. Tally dies, but it's still an objective claim, a fight claimed for GGA.
Man, I do not know what is up with RBM, because right there, you saw no smite available. They didn't communicate that. They didn't pull off damage fast enough. It was just Rosethorn literally walked into the pit, and yes, maybe they're playing for the fight more than they're playing for anything else, but that also doesn't go their way. Yeah, they get 1 kill onto Kai'Sa, but it means nothing because all of this pressure from GGA is continuing to mount as they pull a second dragon. They still have what is effectively a 4,000 gold lead up to this point. It is insane how much they're losing. I don't know how this even happened. I gotta watch what happened with Rosethorn. Yeah, Rosethorn just walks in and
just Conor McGregor walking into the fight. At least didn't even have to pop the Ragnarok until he gets into the fight with Raheen. And after this, you've completely split ZOOS.
Yes, you have. And you saw the ult into the back of the fight from the side of Raheen right there, where you were able to get 1 kill traded in exchange for your Qiyana. But that's not valuable, because in the middle of the fight, you lose another member. And in the back line, you end up losing your Gragas as well. So 3 members fall for the side of ZOOS and the Dragon for what? 1 kill traded onto your Kai'Sa? It's just not enough. This is not the ZOOS that we were going to be expecting in this game. That's a nice barrel.
This might be it, though. Prismal beautifully flashes away. And now Rhino is caught. Rhino is dead. That is a 6-1 Varus on Prismal, and you have to realize that.
Yeah, this early game damage is completely here. You talk about like Stridebreaker as well as like Black Cleaver or even Sterix Gauge coming out from the Olaf. You're talking about the like Shockwave that's going to come through as well. You think about this Lethality Varus. There's nobody that can't take a bunch of damage from the side of GGA as Rosethorn's just kind of 1v2ing right now. It looks like maybe that's going to die.
Alorm is just going to casually go on a killing spree here. 5-2 on the Scion, and really good call from ZOOS Gaming to capitalize on Rosethorn's overextension.
That they will. They find something. Rift Herald's also available if they want to end up taking that one, but the comfort level just isn't here from the side of ZOOS so far, as again, they can just continue to take damage from this team who's got so much in the mid game between the likes of the Olaf, who's on 4, 3, and 4, matched in farm with the side of RBM, and Prismal, like we said, 166, the guy we highlighted at the beginning of the day, being the recipient of all these resources, doing some incredible work on this Lethality Varus. Actually get themselves moving into mid-game as they're moving into the jungle. They're waiting for Rosethorn, but they're going to contest this Rift Herald take.
I would want to see who ZOOS wants to be in here, but yeah, that's just the Rift Herald picked up by no jungler on the side of GGA, but the trio from them as well, as they are going to get that objective right before the Baron spawns. Could be looking at mid lane as they're going to take this outer tower as well, and still having the Rift Herald available to them.
They will. Able to use it in any lane they want. They could just set up around the 3rd dragon that's going to be spawning here in about 2 minutes, and if they do so, it is a little bit of a waste of the Rift Herald, as it doesn't mean that they actually get a bunch of damage with it, but the thing that it does force is that it's got to be a response, because otherwise you do lose a tower on the side of ZOOS, and you're trading that with the ability to actually contest the dragon. So I'm not sure whether they feel as though they can do that, whether that's something on the cards for them. I feel like at this point they probably cannot take a fight. They have to wait at least a little longer for trying to get scaling to come through, like Collector maybe to come out for the likes of the Kai'Sa before this next dragon, but even that probably doesn't feel good enough. So maybe this is the opportunity to try to just force them to use this Rift Herald without getting much with it, and giving a dragon you might already have to give over in an attempt to get some scaling into this game for your Kai'Sa, for your Qiyana.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is just trying to find those advantages in the ways that you can, and trying to find, the fact of the matter that you need to get these pieces going. You need to get Darkwing some gold. You need to get this Qiyana ahead in some fashion, and you're seeing Raheen's already poked out of the fight here.
Absolutely. It doesn't take much to poke out Raheen from the fight. Unfortunately, no armor, especially against Lethality Varus, means 1, maybe 2 arrows maximum is all that it takes in order to actually put somebody in the dirt very, very quickly with this champion. As 45 seconds till the dragon reset had only just come through. Tally's in the top lane with this Gnar pick, with TP readily available to come to bottom side, as they're clearing mid wave, but they're also kind of creeping up towards Baron. I'm curious if they're willing to just trade this off, because they easily go. Actually, their DPS is a bit low without like everybody being there, so they're just going to walk down into the river, take this as 4 members. And I think if you're the side of ZOOS, you just got to give this one, unfortunately, because if you try to fight for it, this might just be the execution that kills you in this early game.
I think that's the biggest thing right now for me. And when you've got this objective control already for GGA, you've got to force yourself into those fights for ZOOS Gaming. You got 10 seconds until GGA could just go on to Dragon Soul Point. And that's never a position you want to be in when you're kind of lagging behind a little bit in the item department, in the fighting department. As TP coming in from the captain, Alorm wants it, as they want to try to position for this fight. You've got to be careful, though, as we set up. The Rift Herald's going mid lane, and Tally is staying. So they feel fine with this fight.
Yeah, but the flank.
They've got killer instinct there, but Yunbi goes golden. Darkwing's on the other side looking for it. There's a supreme display of talent. Gets 2 stuns, but Prismal is still tanky. Prismal is still alive. There's the re-engage for Chime, and GGA are finding the fight. They're finding everything they could use, but Alorum is going to slam one back home for ZOOS as Raheen goes down to a double kill, and Alorum just going to be caught out here. Flashes over the wall. GGA are stomping the series home.
And all that it takes right there is one lost fight. ZOOS bid everything. They throw everything. They bet the whole farm on this exact play as the TP comes through from the likes of Alarim and also the flank deep from Rhino to try to combine a bunch of this CC. And then you get at least your first probably pretty decent supreme display of talent from Darkwings, but it doesn't matter as now GGA, they pull 3rd Dragon. They get the fight win. They get mid inhibitor tower brought down to very low health. As you'll see, again, they get this flank from Rhino at the top of your screen combined with Alorum. They look to engage on the front line, try to find something on the Yunbi, and they just are not able to very easily.
The damage just isn't there.
The ultimate. Nah, they don't find much at this particular case. So now watch Darkwings, who finds a flank onto Prismal, is able to get a
there's no damage.
Combo. Yeah, there's nothing there. They just don't have the gold necessary for it. And yeah, if Raheen's able to get onto that backline, find Prismal, maybe you have a chance. But look, Prismal and Yunbi are completely out of the fight. That's 2 of your damage dealers. It's just Rosethorn running down every other member until Raheen just gets pushed into the tower. Like, what are you supposed to do? It's just a wallet hit from the side of Golden Guardians, who now are going to be able to force Soul Point. They're able to pull everything off the map. They could just walk down mid lane if you try to, play some mind games, you try to call a bluff or something, you just take that mid inhibitor with the tanks that they've got. Everything comes back to the side of GGA right now.
Yeah, it's looking really, really good. You do get Darkwings taking his solo tower on the bot side of the map, able to get a second one for ZOOS Gaming. But look at GGA. They're positioning around this Baron. They're just making sure that if they can call it, if they can turn and take this objective, they have all the right to do so. And I think that's so important in how ZOOS Gaming are trying to approach this mid to late game at least. Because again, you just don't have the damage on the carries that you need to have the damage on.
And even worse is, like, their damage isn't particularly good against the likes of the Baron on the side of GGA, but they're so far ahead that they can spike it down pretty fast. Yeah. And even more importantly, they have multiple ways to turn. When you talk about, like, if Tally goes into Meganar, if you've got Ultimate coming up for the likes of the Varus, Chime has been incredible in the rel for both of these games, and through most of what has been the Proving Grounds, actually been an exceptional performer on the champion. They have ways to turn off the Baron. They don't even care about the actual objective. They just go for the fight, which is something that they've been accustomed to, is fighting around these neutral objectives has been a key identity for this team, especially in setting them up, is now trying to get some mid-priority, looking on a
Belting Lullaby. They find Raheen, or Raheen goes in. There's the Wombo combo. Supreme display of talent, though. They found the fight, but can they follow it up? You've still got to deal with Yunbi. You've still got to deal with Tally. You've still got to deal with Rosethorn, and they can't handle it, Rebel, as Rhino goes in for the final kill there. He can find some more. Yunbi goes golden, but he goes down. RBM still alive, but Tally finishes the fight. It is a 5-for-4 ace for GGA.
I gotta be honest, I think if you're ZOOS, you're gonna take that all day. You might lose mid inhibitor tower here. I think Tally could just walk it up mid lane and not worry about it. Maybe even take an inhibitor, but they have Raheen coming up in only a couple of seconds. But that's about as good as you're gonna get in terms of what damage you've got. So they do just influx themselves with a bunch of gold as the play is immediately onto Prismal. They find the Scion ultimate, gets blocked, but Raheen gets into the backline. Were not for this phenomenal shockwave, this fight probably looks completely different from GGA as Yunbi, another hero ultimate, is able to turn things back around. And yes, you get good enough damage. Rosethorn's going to end up going down on the end of this one, as well as Yunbi, as the heroics from RBM is he saves the fight on the opposite end. It would have been a 3-for-5 otherwise. Really good stuff from a couple of these members. But again, this setup is about as good as you could possibly ask for. So you got to use this gold and find probably 2 or 3 more of those if you're on the side of ZOOS just to begin competing in this game.
And the other thing, like, we can talk about the one fight going over, ZOOS finding some advantages in some aspect. I mean, they've gotten 14 kills, right? You're a minute and 20 seconds away from a Mountain Soul for GGA. That is not the setup you want to be in. That's going to mean that Darkwings doesn't have that potential burst to start off the fights. You've got to be careful at how you engage those fights. And you've got to set yourself up to put up a fight against this objective tape.
At least they were able to find it once. If they found it once, maybe they have the confidence now to be able to do it again. They do have this massive Scion who's sitting on 3 items. Shockwave's
no shockwave.
That's huge. There's only seconds. There's only a minute. It's not going to be up until then. That's actually a huge loss. Maybe GGA was fishing with it, but I don't know that they can actually win a pure fight, especially if ZOOS gets the right setup.
And honestly, at this point, for GGA, like, if you pull that trigger, you don't find it, I feel like you're in a position to say that's okay. Because if they do find it, that's a game
Sure.
changer. That's a game winner. But if they don't, it's only one dragon to Zeus. And that's what you got to think about in this situation.
Shockwave also is almost back up. I thought,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It
is like
not level 16, not necessarily a bunch of ability haste, or at least a ton of ability haste here. But it is going to be up for this next fight. Doesn't matter. So Yunbi, you caught me off guard right there. I didn't think they were going to have it, but there they are.
Oh, Rosethorn on the back. They've got to be really careful here. Rosethorn not going to get the angle he wanted. But immediately, Zeus are pushed out of everything that they gained in this bottom jungle.
They are. Teleport from Sion. They're looking for the play here. They want to fight yet again. It's a team that's just kind of thrown everything at the wall.
Oh, no. They've gotten caught. There's that Shockwave Rebel as RBM goes gold and gets executed by Prismal. And now the re-engage. Darkwing goes in. But again, not having the damage is the biggest factor. Raheen's getting 1v1 by Prismal, but they found him. They've gotten Prismal. Raheen gets the kill, but can they get anything else? As the fight could continue by GGA. Tally is on the Lorem, but they are just wet noodle fighting on the bottom of this map. And a huge pickup of kills for Zeus, but even bigger for the side of GGA, who now get a free, or at least Mountain Soul.
I don't think it's unplayable. Like you said, the burst that can come out of Darkwings is definitely the top is taking off it. All the damage that would come through from like Sion or Rhino is also gone. So they're really going to have to rely on Raheen and RBM doing a lot more work. But here we go. We actually get a chance to see this. This was a solid invade attempt by GGA. They weren't able to find anything off the start. And RBM ends up getting caught out right here. Darkwings is able to use this Umbral Glaive to clear the ward. As you step up, I thought potentially the play was here as they were looking for it. But RBM ends up just getting caught in this lapse of vision, unfortunately, and that Shockwave had only been used like 60 seconds prior is going to be the death of him. And Darkwings tries to find a great ultimate, but the Zonius from Yunbi protects him. If he doesn't press that, it's nothing, as Raheen doesn't get 1v1 quite by Prismal, and Darkwings finds a way around to help support him. But at this point, there's no jungler. Your damage is way too low. You don't have the cooldowns readily available. There's nothing left. You just take the dragon, and you're done from the side of GGA, as Mountain Soul is going to give them a better advantage in these fights. If you thought fights were hard for Zeus already, they just got a ton worse.
And I have to give props to the heads-upness by Raheen and Darkwings, you know, realizing that Prismal is overextended, is not with the team, and they circle back around with the killer instinct, with the movement of Darkwings to get that kill. And in the grand scheme of things, maybe it doesn't mean a lot, but it shows that the fight is still there for Zeus Gaming.
Do notice, if you will, there is still 3.5 items. It feels like the shutdown gold has been farmed by Raheen pretty exceptionally here in the later stages of the game. So sitting on 3.5 items is actually even higher than what Prismal has. Okay,
that's going to be a pretty big cooldown for the Lilting Lullaby used by Zeus. So they don't really have that for RBM to set up anything here. And honestly, it feels like GGA have the momentum in this one. They kind of pushing forward. Tally's about to have Mega Gnar as Yunbi's following it up. You have, unfortunately, Prismal's a little bit far away from the fight, but look, they just get the priority in mid lane. And they're picking on the Baron.
Yeah. And again, they don't really care about the Baron necessarily. They could use this to siege when they've got this Varus and this Orianna to work with, as well as a Mega Gnar. But honestly, they're probably just better off looking for the fight. And if they look for the fight, there's no chance of a 50-50 by RBM or anybody else. So this is what I would be doing if I were them. If I were on the side of GGA, I wouldn't be looking for this damage output from Prismal. I'd be looking for the turn instead, as they have a number of champions who are really good at it. Keep your eye of Chime, because he is really far wide on the flank.
Yeah, they do have Darkwings over here on the flank as well. Bit of one-sided, though. Alarm's already going down. Unstoppable from Rosethorn's going to be in the back line here, as already one member has fallen. You've got the shutdown for Raheen, though. But look at the damage. Look at the carry potential of Tally, who just singles out Raheen in the middle of the fight. And now he's going in on RBM, too, because he don't care, as he is still the Mega Gnar. They don't do the Baron, but they still take the fight.
They do. Oh, last Q does not hit. He does hit from RBM, as he's going to try to salvage this. I don't think they can necessarily play the Baron right here, as it is just the fight. 2 members brought down for the side of GGA. Darkwings is way behind this team right now, so if you get a perfect flank, maybe you could look for a play. But Chime has been on his trail for the last couple of minutes, waiting to try to find where exactly that this Kiana had walked to. He just saw him.
See the Rel versus Kiana 1v1 here, but it's going to be joined by Yunbi. Look at the speed coming in. Darkwing needs to be really careful. Take the tight corner here to make sure to get out. Needs to be careful, though. Supreme Display of Talent comes in for Chime, but you've got to be worried about the Shockwave. It goes out. Darkwings expertly gets away from it. Yunbi going a bit wide with it, but now he's still in this 2v1, and the kill is going to go over to Chime as Darkwings gets taken out.
all props to Chime right now, tracking him for so long. And then Yunbi, he burns the ultimate, which is painful around this Baron. Maybe it's one thing that could dissuade them from taking this one, but I don't think it's going to matter all too much if they're willing to just auto-attack this to death. There's maybe some semblance of challenge. No Shockwave means the Orion is much less valuable, but they got to get the pit right now if they want to try for it. This is the last ditch play.
Calls the fight. There's the Baron at 4,000. RBM on the backside. Lorm is the distraction, but they haven't turned on the Baron. They're turning onto a Lorm, and a Lorm is down. Maybe? Rampage there, but the lilting lullaby is going to be huge. No. RBM is still in the back of the fight, hasn't been integral at all besides that lilting lullaby. Now he gets Meganar ultied into the wall, and he's just going to go down. There's no jungler left for GGA, or at least for ZOOS Gaming, as they can't take the Baron fight. Raheem's getting taken out by Rosethorn, and that is it. GGA take the objective.
Some of the meanest team fighting I've seen for GGA all season. Academy, Scouting Grounds, North Arena, anything coming out in this game. As they're snagging this Baron, that is a massive lead. 10,000 gold with the Mountain Soul is all that they need to win this game. This was, again, a last-ditch effort here from the side of ZOOS Gaming as they look for something, but Lorm just gets absolutely battered down. Raheem's the only one who can really put in damage, but he's completely zoned out of the fight. RBM gets that good sleep, but Tally's able to challenge the opposite side. Rhino's going to try to go in and get a disrupt, but the exhaust does nothing, and he's only a support as Raheem tries to get Yunbi, but Chime's immediately ready. Their target selection is gorgeous, member to member to member, and yeah, you trade for Rosethorn, but it means nothing as they just have the consistent damage to take everything else in this game. As GGA, they transition from being the super late game team to playing early, and they have come out and smashed ZOOS in these two games.
10,000 gold lead. The carries have the gold. Prismal and Yunbi picking up the slack in the damage potential of the team. And I just love to see everybody moving forward. Everybody calling the shots. Tally's going in those aggressive plays. He's trying to get those engagements. They do not care that this could be knocking out ZOOS. They want to knock out ZOOS.
Absolutely. It keeps them alive, and it lets them play against 100 Thieves next week if this is going to be the end. And it's unfortunate for ZOOS. We talked about how good of a team they are and how long they've taken to develop, and how just how amazing they were being able to qualify to UGP. But it does not matter, as Golden Guardians are saying absolutely not. We have developed more. Our players are better, and we're just going to end up taking this fight. Darkwings is really deep in this territory right now.
You can't get caught like that. You get the full engage from ZOOS. They need to find something. They're desperate here, but they don't find anything. Yumbi goes golden. Do they want to continue the fight? This is an outman fight, but Raheem is all by himself trying to take down Chime.
That's
and he's just going to die to the shockwave of Yumbi.
Elder Drake's going to get taken by this team. There is no competition left. Prismal even has Guardian Angel. There's no chance they're able to sail this. Even if Rhino gets a good barrel, I doubt that they're going to be able to push it through Rosethorn, as there's too many members in the way. And I think this is just going to be the game. Tally's going to get this Elder Soul, and he's going to be able to kill Alarim in this side lane as everybody else get collapsed. The best they can do is try to kill off the Gnar and hope that that's going to be enough for them to be able to push off this Elder Drake, try to survive for one more fight. But I don't even think that's the case, Mazel. Darkwings is coming back up. No supreme display of talent. 20 seconds on your only damage dealer in Raheem, and I'm thinking right now that GGA is just going to take the series right here, right now.
ZOOS up against the ropes. Only a couple buildings left to stand between them being eliminated from the Proving Grounds Rebel. This could just be it. ZOOS Gaming going out whole-handedly to GGA. They've just got time to spend here. One Nexus Tower down. GGA have officially scaled into the late game here, as we see a couple members left getting taken down, and ZOOS Gaming will bow out of the Proving Grounds to the hands of GGA.
What a performance from GGA, man. This is the 9th place Academy team, and they are dominating one of the best amateur teams. We've seen competition before. We saw against C9 how competitive that this team could be, yet GGA come out and they smash them in this series. Fantastic stuff. Completely different look. Every player performing at an absolute peak level. GGA looked unstoppable.
I just gotta reiterate that every single piece for GGA is looking so good. You have everybody performing, everybody mechanically performing, but also as a team, the calls, the macro movements, the rotations, the objective calls, it all comes together to culminate in such beautiful League of Legends for GGA. As you said, that 9th seed, not being the runners that we think they're going to be, and nonetheless are able to try and make this run through the lower bracket.
it felt like that series was a whole bunch of GGA never being surprised by anything ZOOS had.
Yeah.
They were ready for every single thing. Doesn't matter if it was an individual play, doesn't matter if it was a team fight setup, doesn't matter if it was a rotation. Every single second, GGA read this team like a book. And it's unfortunate that that's the way that ZOOS goes out with a whisper, unfortunately, here in the Proving Grounds, is we had high expectations for this team. But I'm honestly far more proud of GGA's progress as they've been able to turn this around from being one of the lesser known, or perhaps like the lesser expectation academy teams coming into this tournament, to now arguably being one of the favorites. I think they're going to give a ton of challenge to 100 Thieves. If they play like this, 100 Thieves is going to have their hands more than full.
I mean, those gloves are going to be fighting in that next series, because after what we saw for 100 Thieves Academy today and what we see off of GGA today, like, this is insane to see so much development, so much strength coming out from this team, especially. And I like Prism, my dude, in this second game, taking the game on his back in the early parts and just continuing to press it forward.
I can't give all these players enough praise. I know Rosethorn in the previous season, like Rosethorn, it was not super impressive to me within the scouting ground circuit. Qualified for that scouting grounds through like the challenger ladder, and has developed way beyond anything I would have expected. I am so happy to have been wrong about how good Rosethorn was capable of being within the confines of this series, and I'm even more happy about everybody else. Tally was amazing, one of the best statistical, and you see why, because he was smashing everything against Alorum, who's an absolute tank. And perhaps I think the most impressive player of the series was Chime. Engage after engage after engage, understanding where he needed to be, somehow peeling and engaging at the same time. You're going to see that right here, where he's able to pick up Raheen and find the priority pick right there. Amazing stuff out of this support, who's only a split into his ability to play alongside the rest of these players. This team has come so far, and they're honestly stealing my heart right now as one of the favorites.
And I got to say that it's been a fun one here today, but we're going to get to hear from GGA. We got Tally coming in for the Verizon post-game interview. Tally, my dude, a quick 2-0, an easy night for you guys. How's it feeling?
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it feels really good. I think we had a really good game plan going in against ZOOS, and I think that like everything went exactly how we expected it to go. So it was just like, as soon as we got in game, everyone was comfortable, and it was just good going from there.
Yeah, I gotta say, it was incredible to say the least. Just being able to take that first game so handedly, and as a team more so. I guess that's the big thing for me that stuck out here. It wasn't just one of you guys performing, right? It was the entire team for both games. And when you're looking at those movements around the map, especially in the early games, where we know you guys to be a little bit later of a game, a team where you're trying to focus around maybe not taking some of those early objectives, this series didn't matter. You didn't care about that. You went for those early objectives. So was there a difference in mindset coming into this series that you guys were maybe trying to grasp?
I think it's just due to how like the lanes were playing out, that like we got a lot of pushing lanes in both games, and the fact that we got Olaf, who's like such a strong early game champion. Like I just told Tim that like, I think you should just pick Olaf. I think you're going to carry this game if you're feeling comfortable. So like taking those early skirmishes on champions that we have and the amount of control we had in the early game was just really easy.
I'm gonna take the question a little bit different, as I did in the first series as well. You were coming out of the OPL as a very high talented player, because you were amazing. You were into Worlds, everything like that. This is a team of relatively young players around you, right? Like, have you had a lot more of a hand in some of the development that's been coming through? Because you guys, obviously, you got 9th, and the academy split wasn't that impressive, but you guys have been absolutely smashing the back half, and that game was indicative of your performance. I got to know the secret sauce and whether you're a part of it or not.
I wouldn't take too much credit, because this is definitely a first for me. I haven't really been in the veteran position before, so like I would give it definitely to the coaching staff. I think that as soon as we picked up our new coaching staff, I think they like the ability that they have to like lead rookie players has been very good. I think everyone's comfortable and able to express like how they're feeling and what they want to do. Like I am personally still learning like how to like help people improve, because I've been not a veteran before. I've been like on a team of peers, so it's a new position for me. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I love to hear it, man. It's something new for you. It looks to be fitting you pretty well here as a team, because those performances were amazing. Now you got to look forward a little bit. I know it's nice to dwell on the win, dwell on the series domination from GGA. You've got 100 Thieves Academy waiting for you in that next round. You have anything to say to Tenacity, to the team in general?
I mean, I was actually pretty glad that 100 Thieves won. I thought IMT was a very scary team. So now that they're gone, like I think it's pretty smooth sailing for us.
No.
Honestly.
Hey, I love to hear it. Tenacity, if you're listening, you better be rared up and ready to go for that next series. But last little thing, I want to see if you have any shout outs for anybody that particularly has stood out to you in the squad, in the team, in the program, at least, that you want to give a little shout out to.
I think today definitely goes to our bot lane. I think they definitely shown like how much they've improved. I think especially today they took a more of a leadership role. I didn't really have anything I had to do that game. I was just sitting back in these last few minions for the past 2 hours. So like I'm really glad that they're comfortable and they're able to step up.
Hey, I love to hear it. Tally, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing so much more of you guys, and especially with those performances, you no doubt are going to have a run. We'll see what happens, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, Rebel. That is it for our post-game interview presented by Verizon. But now we get a look at where we stand in the Proving Grounds as we have made it to this round 3 of elimination, this lower bracket. And it's going to be TSM versus FlyQuest Academy, and then 100 Thieves Academy versus GGA. We've got a lot of Academy teams here.
Yes. So 2 things. I like FlyQuest still will not play an amateur team until they hit either EGP or no org or whoever it is on the backside of the bracket. And the other thing is TSM gets denied the possibility of the ZOOS reunion match where they got put out in the first round and then had to fight their way back. So that's going to go. But our teams now are incredible. You talk about how much TSM has grown. FlyQuest has been a fantastic late game champion. 100 Thieves has had a bunch of young players. GG in the exact same way. A lot of these teams are built off the back of young players who are coming back in. It feels like TSM FlyQuest are more experienced players like Haunter, players like Triple as well, whereas this 100 Thieves GG is the next generation where you talk about people like Chime, talk about people like Tenacity on these 2 teams, and we're going to get a chance to see them play up against some of the losers from that top side bracket. These teams in competition are bound to be some exciting games as the week continues, and to get to see where that's going to go. You think C9 versus EG is going to deliver a fantastic series, EGP versus No Work, and the losers, their work's going to be cut out for them with who wins these last 2 series in this round 3 in the bottom bracket.
Yeah, I mean, those lower bracket teams are waiting, chomping at the bit to get up to these teams, to fight up against these top teams, these guys who have been looking so good, but 2 of them rather, have to fall to that losers bracket. Rebel, it has been an absolute blast to cast these series. A little sad we didn't go double game 3s, but GGA are just too damn good as we're going to be closing it out for the night. Have to say thank you to the audience, for everybody for tuning in. You've got to tune in tomorrow, though, because we have Evil Geniuses Academy taking on C9 Academy, just like what we saw up there on the upper bracket, and that No Org versus Evil Genius Prodigies matchup coming at you at 3 p.m. in Pacific. So thank you all again for tuning in. Thank you to the production for the behind-the-scenes action, and we'll see you next time on Summoner's Rift.
Verizon believes everyone deserves the best. That's why we start with 5G from America's most reliable network.
Verizon 5G is next level.
Then give families plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need starting at $35.
You get so much more than this, a great network.
And offer the best in entertainment on select unlimited plans, like Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN+, as well as Discovery+, with a Galaxy S21 Plus 5G when you buy one. There's no reason to settle for less than the best, only from Verizon.